This video is brought to you by the FARMER-KLEIN YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Welcome to Thornton Farm. This map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game mod hub, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Now this map does include a required mod in the Twin Silage Shed by Lancyboi, so be sure to have downloaded that and activate that when loading up the map. Now, let me read a little bit of the description. It says, welcome to Thornton Farm. And those of you that have played Farm Sim for a while probably remember that this map was in Farm Sim 17, and I'm pretty sure that this map was also available in Farm Sim 15. That's about as far back as my knowledge goes, so maybe it was available beyond that even further. But right now, here we are in Farm Sim 19 with Welcome to Thornton Farm. This map is mostly fictional, but contains some real-life areas. The map is located in Gloucestershire, Great Britain, and offers a beautiful landscape. This map includes all FS19 features, 2 sell points, a BGA, 38 small and medium fields, new self-constructed buildings, forestry, sawmill area, and missions, and various custom sounds across the map. So with that, let's go ahead and jump on in. Now we're going to go ahead and load in the mods that we typically use when we take a look at these maps. And I will say that I loaded this map up earlier in Farm Manager, and the map is exactly how you see it, with a few triggers missing for the animals. That's right, we are back to that. We have a few animal triggers that are missing if you load this map up in Farm Manager or start from scratch. If you load it up in those play modes, I'm pretty confident I remember the equipment is still there, but the land is not owned. Let's go ahead and watch this map load on in. If you do load this map up with seasons, this map does indeed have a seasons mask. This map does not have a custom soil map, so you will be using the generic soil map that is available with the precision farming mod. Now, first thing I noticed is when I loaded on in here is, man, these trees are blowing in the wind. There is a lot of wind on this map, at least at this particular area of the map. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA itself. So you'll see that this is a smaller map as far as covering the entire 2x2 area here. This is covering maybe 2/3 of that particular area. Take a look at the lands. You see we start out by owning the fields 8, 10, and the main farm. The main farm includes a chicken area. More on that here in a little bit. Cows and pigs. Now there is a sheep area up here, but the triggers are missing in all play modes. They're not there. More on that later, because that is a massive disappointment. And then we have a horse area over here by field 35. Let's take a look. If we were to start this map up on Farm Manager or start from scratch, we don't own this farm. It's $701,900. The sheep area, $158,000. And I'm going to buy it before we look at it, because I'm sure someone's going to comment, well, you need to own it. So we're going to own it, and I'm still going to prove to you that the triggers are not there. We've got the horse area here for $77,700. And then let's take a look at some of these field prices. Field 31, $251,000. Field 34, $275,000. Field number 1, $198,000. Now, if we click here, the unbuyable land, which includes the road network, areas outside the map, as well as the town and the sell points, that can be bought for a whopping $17,800. There is a placeable area here just to the west of the main farm, $92,800. And then we have the biogas plant, which we can buy for $34,700. We have all of our standard crop types available to us here on Farm Sim 19 also. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how that generic soil map is mapped out across these fields. So you see we've got a little bit of silty clay here to the north across fields 19, 20, 27, and 30, as well as field 18. We also have silty clay down here in 12, 13, 14, 29, 28, 32, and a little bit of 11 and 2. Then a fair bit of the map is sandy loam and loamy sand with little strips of loam across all of the fields. We have three main sell points for the bulk of our grain crops. We do have a unique sell point for our wool and cotton. We have 3 sell points for sugarcane, 3 sell points for eggs, and 3 sell points for milk. We do have a sell point for wood chips at the sawmill, and 2 barn sell points for silage, hay, straw, and grass, should we not own the BGA. We do also have the ability to sell pellets down at the barn. You see our starting equipment listed here. It is all new, well maintained. None of it is leased. We'll take a closer look at all of that later. We do not have any animals at the start, and we do have contracts available to us on this map. With that, let's go ahead and take a look at our starting equipment. We have the Valtra A104 and the John Deere 6135M. So our tractor's range and horsepower. Sorry, we also have the John Deere 6245R. So our tractor's range and horsepower from 100 to 290. We got the John Deere T560 harvester. We have the 645 FD grain header to go along with our harvester. We got the 2014 pickup truck and the Bandit 750 trailer. We have the Agromaz POH5 plow, the Kuhn Cultimer L300 cultivator, the Stara seeder, and we have front loader arms, bale spike, the header trailer. Then we have front weight and some placeables in the large grain silo and seed tank. And that is it. So if you take a look at the placeables area, you're going to see that we do not have any custom placeables. Like I said, everything is built into the map. You can't sell anything. You can't buy anything. We do have the ability to buy the seed tank should we accidentally sell it. And the modded silo should we accidentally sell it. Here is the silage shed, which is listed as the required mod. And the map does not have a sleep trigger here at the main house. You will have to put that down yourself, which really isn't that big of a deal because we have an overabundance of sleep triggers now at this point in Farm Sim 19's life. So here we are at the main farm. See, we've got our John Deere tractors here. We've seen this shed before. We can store equipment in here, or we could tip to ground grain into this particular facility. Then we come up to the farm silo. So we have our grain dump point right there and our spout to fill our trailer right there. Again, more machinery storage and or tip to ground storage. Then we have our harvester parked way up here on the hill. Field 10 is a meadow, grass meadow. And let's go ahead and make our way across the road. That's where all the animals are. Thornton Farm. So there we've got another one of those nice sheds going on here. We have our workshop trigger inside of here. And then this is our cow area. So we have our food trough and straw trigger right here. Around back, we have our water trough. And if you load this up on Farm Manager or start from scratch, this water trough is not here. So this trigger is gone. The milk trigger is gone. The straw and food triggers are gone for the cows. Now, when we get to the pigs, the pig areas are still here. Or the pig area is still here in Farm Manager or Start from Scratch. So it's a little confusing, a little inconsistent, but it is what it is. So our cow delivery point right here, 500 cows in this particular pen. Again, you really need to start this map up in new farmer mode in order to have these animal troughs for the cows. So we have a seed silo right there. Around the side, we have our big slurry tank for our cows. Then we have our slurry for our pigs, our manure for our pigs, our food trough, water trigger, straw, and then our pig delivery point. 300 pigs in this particular pen. And as I said, the pigs are the only animal that I am fully aware of that has the triggers on all play modes. The cows are only available on New Farmer. Sadly, the chickens, there's an icon on the map, but the triggers don't work. They're not existent. The sheep, there's an icon on the map. The triggers are not existent in any play mode. I have already checked. And the horses are present in at least the New Farmer play mode. So over here we have where the chickens should be. In fact, we see the trough, right? Well, let's go ahead and pull up our F5, show the triggers here. There isn't a trigger for the food trough. This is just to open and close the gate. Okay, the trigger over here is just to open and close the gate. There is nothing here at the food trough. There is no chicken buy trigger. Right now, we are literally on top of that icon, and there is no trigger here. There's none outside of that building. There's none inside of here anywhere. So the chickens, as of the 1.0 release, as far as I'm concerned, are 100% broke. And I'm having a really hard time with this, especially given the names on this particular map, to have things like this just broke at the start. It's difficult. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and walk up here and then go across the street to the placeable area. Which is right here. And this can be bought separate. It's not owned at the beginning, but you could also put additional buildings up here. You maybe start your farm up here if you don't want to start your farm down there at the Thornton Farm. So with that, let's go ahead and get set up for the fly around. We'll take a look around the map. We'll settle back down at the shop and drive around and check out all the other areas. So I guess we did miss. Once we get some altitude, we can see some areas we missed. We did miss right behind the pig area. We do have 2 silage bunkers for our cows. We did miss that. So let's go ahead and hit those. We've got silage trigger 1 and silage trigger 2 right there. Get a little bit of altitude and just kind of pan around. I did check, and the fields that have utility poles going through them, the utility poles do not have collisions. So you won't have any issues with hired helpers or yourself just driving right on through those. So there we have the placeable area, which is right up here at the map boundary. To the north there, we have our shop and a few sell points. Directly across the street, right in front of us, that is the sheep pen. That is not functional And then just away over there, we have the working horses. And that is pretty much it. Got a bit of an abandoned manor or a little castle here. Something we see typically on a lot of UK-based maps. Our animal dealer over here to the... I guess at this point we are in the southwest of the map. The map is not flat. It has some nice subtle rolling hills and valleys. Down here we have the bulk of our sell points, which includes the biogas plant that is buyable directly below. We can visually see all these trees popping in. So I have to say this map probably is going to run pretty good on just about any system because of how these trees are just literally popping in. So it's not too much being basically displayed at a great distance. We'll head on up here. This is basically a fuel area. Possibly just a fuel area. There is no fuel icon. There's also no fuel trigger down there that I could see. So that might be an area of concern because I'm not seeing a fuel icon anywhere else either. So you might need to bring in your own fuel trigger also on this map. So that is something that maybe needs to be addressed in another update. We've got our wood chip down there, our log sell point. We have our garage or shop, but you'll notice there is no workshop trigger down here. That is a third thing that I think needs to be addressed in an update. We've got our grain sell point. A little bit of a Stonehenge action going on there, so that's kind of a nice little thing to see. And we'll go ahead and come back here to the shop and get our Mahindra. We'll do our drive around. We'll hit the horse area. We'll hit the sheep area. And that should be just about it. So we have our shop purchase icon right here. But again, there is no workshop trigger down here at the shop. So you're going to have to do your buy, sell, lease, and trade, hopefully from the workshop that is at Thornton Farm. We have a fairly large area for our equipment to spawn in at. And then across this way here, we have one of the grain sell points with some nice signage that's going to be telling us what is available at this particular sell point to sell. Now, this area is marked, but this is nothing. There's no trigger here. So that's not a sell point. That's just there. Let's go ahead and see if this map has collisions on the hedges. It does not. So there will be collisions on fences and kind of stone walls, but we do not seem to have collisions on hedgerows. So we have our log sell point right here. We have our log sell activation icon and our wood chip sell point right there. let's go ahead and talk about these sheep, okay? Because again, given the names attached to this map, I kind of expect a bit more as far as things working at the get-go. But yeah, the sheep are effectively non-functional. There are no triggers here other than a trigger to open a gate. And I'm going to show you that. So here we are. We've got our trigger to open the gate. But that is it. We check the F1 menu. There is nothing there. We've got this area here that might have been the area to buy your sheep from. That is non-existent. Over here we have a hashed area that is probably to be the spawn point for your wool. We have our food trough. Again, there's no trigger there. And I don't see a water trigger anywhere. Oh, sorry. The water trigger is over here, or the water trough, but no actual trigger is over here either. Now, you may be like, oh, well, you don't own the land. All right, well, let's take care of that little action. We're going to use a nice little command, GA buy all land, or GS buy all land, so we now own everything. Okay, we own it all. Trigger? No. How about the food trough? No. How about over here where we have the buy area? No. Well, maybe if we just go up here by the gate, right? No. So again, the sheep are effectively broken in all play modes. Because I did check this in Farm Manager also. So again, wait for an update. We had 2 maps drop today. As of the recording of this video, this map has a rating of 3.4 and 49 ratings. 49 people have rated the map. The other map, which actually had working animal triggers, was rated 2.8, I think, with about 40 rating. So a map that had all the animal triggers working. Now, you couldn't sell your eggs, you couldn't sell your milk on that map, but still, had all the working animal triggers at least, is rated lower than this map, which has defunct chickens and defunct sheep. And if you start in Farm Manager, has defunct cows. It's rated higher. That is 100% why the ratings on the mod hub are 100% broken. People are not rating mods based on if they functionally work. They are rating mods based on how purty they are, or how well known the name attached to the map or mod is. If it hurts, well, that's true. Truth hurts. Okay? That's life, people. Alright, so let's go over here and check out our Nelly horses. Do have a nice flowing, or what looks like a flowing river through here, so that's nice to see. Some interesting stone wall. I like the three-dimensional top on there going. So we've got our 5 point for our horses right here. And we go on in, we have our water trough. We have our straw trigger up here under this little shed. And then we have our food trough right there for our horses. So that is everything that we need to tend to our horses. Go ahead and turn on around here at Meadow 35. And here we are. We have the Port Northwest. Going to be one of our grain sell points. So that is... must be around back. Okay. There we go. Port Northwest, right here. And now we're going to make our way over to the large conglomerate of sell points and the biogas plant, which is down in the southeast of the map. So as I said earlier, there's no apparent fuel trigger over here in town. This would be the point for it, but again, if we take a look, there is no trigger indicating that, so that is something that definitely needs to be added in a subsequent update when they fix the sheep, the chickens, and the cows for a play mode other than New Farmer. Overall, this map is very, very much akin to Thornton Farm for Farm Sim 17, which, from what I remember being told, was, again, very akin to Thornton Farm for Farm Sim 15. Now, I hope if Thornton Farm for Farm Sim 22 ever becomes, that we see a fair bit of these building textures be replaced, because they're starting to really show their age, and they're only going to be even worse with all of the graphical improvements that are going on in FS 2022 that we are learning about at this point. So down here we have the collection of the rest of the sell points. We have a bulk buy point for our seed right there. We have a grain sell point directly in front of us. Again, way up here at the top, we do have a sign that tells us what is available for sale here, or to buy, depending on how you look at it. We have our spinnery, which is right here. We also have another hashed area directly in front of it that has no trigger whatsoever. So the spinnery is this one. The one in front of us is absolutely nothing. So I would like to see the excessive hashed areas removed that really aren't indicative of anything. I think that's just going to lead to player confusion. Around back, we have a sell point for bales. Then we have our bulk lime buy point, which is right here. And then we have our biogas plant. So we have a large area here. We could probably put down even more silage bunkers. We've got 2 smallish 3-sided silage bunkers here. We have our trigger 1 and we have our trigger number 2. We've got our digester right here. And then our digestate is a little tricky. So we've got to get between this concrete barrier, this wall that is part of the silage bunker, to get to this point right here to get to our digestate. So it's kind of a little tricky area. You might have a little difficulty in getting bigger tankers back into here, but that is basically where that is. So guys, that is going to do us for Thornton Farm 19. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of this version of Thornton Farm? Did you play it in Farm Sim 17? Did you play it in Farm Sim 19? Are you gonna play it in Farm Sim, or did you play it in 15? Sorry. And are you gonna play it in Farm Sim 19? So guys, until next time, happy farming.